Okay, so Snowflake is right smack in the middle of the data universe. And with this whole AI explosion, you better believe all eyes are on them. So, what we're going to do today is break down their latest quarterly earnings report and really see if the numbers back up all the hype. We'll get into their performance, their pretty unique business model, and figure out if this big bet on AI is actually paying off.
And you can see this vision right from the top. The company's new CEO, Sridhar Ramaswamy, lays it all out. It's all about being the fundamental platform, the cornerstone, as he puts it, for both data and for AI. Everything we're about to look at, every single number, it all comes back to this one core idea.
All right, and here it is, the big one, the headline number that really turned heads. 29% growth in product revenue compared to last year, hitting a whopping $1.16 billion just for the quarter. Now, that is a seriously strong signal of demand. But what's really behind that number?
So to really get what's fueling that big number, we've got to pop the hood, right? We're going to start with their pay-as-you-go model because it's a little different. Then we'll dig into the core growth stats. And finally, we'll tie it all back to their huge vision, this thing they call the AI Data Cloud.
Okay, before we jump into any more charts and graphs, we absolutely have to talk about how Snowflake makes its money, because it is not your typical software subscription. It's all based on consumption, on how much you actually use, and this is the absolute key to understanding their entire performance.
So here's how it works, and it's actually pretty simple when you break it down. First, a customer pays up front for a certain amount of capacity. That's a booking. Then, as they do their work, running queries, storing data, they consume or draw down from that prepaid amount. And here's the crucial part. Only when that consumption happens does Snowflake count it as revenue. So their revenue isn't just a number on a contract, it's a direct reflection of how much their customers are actually using and valuing the platform, second by second.
You know, this is completely different from the old-school subscription model. We've all heard of shelfware, right? That software you pay a fortune for, but it just sits on a digital shelf collecting dust? Well, Snowflake's model just gets rid of that problem. The downside for them is that revenue can be a bit more up and down, but the upside is massive. Their growth is perfectly linked to their customers' success. When a customer does well and uses more data, Snowflake does well. It's that simple.
Okay, so now that we get the model, let's see how it actually translates into the numbers. We're going to look at the real engine of the business here, the revenue, the customers, and what's coming down the pike in terms of future commitments.
And wow, this chart just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly shows the momentum. You can just see that steady, consistent climb in product revenue quarter after quarter. This isn't just some one-off success, this is a trend. They are consistently growing how much people use the platform, going from just under $1 billion in Q1, all the way up to over $1.15 billion now.
But hey, it's not just about the overall revenue number. It's about who is spending that money. The number of customers spending over $1 million a year is also climbing just as steadily. There are now up to 688 of these huge customers. So the takeaway here is pretty clear. They're not just adding more customers, they're adding and growing very large, very strategic ones.
Okay, now this metric, this is one you really want to pay attention to for future growth. It's called RPO, or Remaining Performance Obligations. Basically, this is money that's been promised in contracts but hasn't shown up as revenue yet. And just look at that jump in Q3 to almost $7.9 billion. That is a massive backlog of committed business, and it's up 37% from last year.
So, let's make sure we're all on the same page with RPO. Think of it like this. It's the total amount of money from contracts they've already signed, but for work they haven't delivered yet. It's basically a sneak peek at future revenue that's already in the bag. It gives you a great sense of how healthy the business is looking down the road.
All right, this next number, for a company like Snowflake, this might be the most powerful metric of them all. A net revenue retention rate of 125%. This number tells an incredible story about customer loyalty and just how much they're expanding on the platform.
So what in the world does 125% mean? It's actually pretty amazing. It means that if you took all the customers Snowflake had a year ago and you didn't add a single new one, that same group of customers is spending 25% more today. This isn't about getting new business, it's proof that existing customers are finding so much value that they are dramatically increasing how much they use and spend on the platform. It's the ultimate sign that the product is working.
Okay, so we've got strong revenue. We've got more big spending customers, and those customers are sticking around and spending a lot more. But what's the end game? What are they building with all this momentum? Well, it all points to their grand vision, the AI Data Cloud. This is where all those boring financial numbers start to become a cool, tangible reality.
And whoa, if you want to see that vision in action, this is it. These images are just incredible. On the left, you've got April 2020. It's kind of sparse, right? A few little islands of activity. Now look at the projection for 2025. It is a total explosion. It's like a galaxy of connections. This is the network effect, plain and simple. The more data that's on the platform, the more valuable it becomes for everyone else.
And we can actually put some hard numbers to that incredible picture. Get this, 41%, nearly half, of all their customers are now actively sharing data with at least one other company. And their marketplace? It's booming. Over 3,500 data sets and apps are available, and that's up 20% in just a year. This isn't just a concept, it's a real, living, breathing ecosystem.
So that was a fantastic quarter, no doubt about it. But what about the road ahead? Let's take a look at what the company itself is forecasting for the rest of the year.
And yeah, they're feeling pretty confident. They're guiding for over $4.4 billion in product revenue. That's 28% growth for the year. But here's what's really impressive. Look at those margins. A 75% gross margin is just stellar for a cloud company. And that 25% free cash flow margin, that tells you they're not just chasing growth at all costs. They're building a really strong, profitable, and efficient business.
So when you pull it all together, the picture's pretty clear, right? Snowflake is firing on all cylinders. They've got the financial results, a killer business model that customers love, and this thriving data ecosystem. Their entire strategy is built on one simple idea. Data is the fuel for the AI revolution. And that just leaves us with one big question, doesn't it? Is that data-first strategy going to be enough to keep them at the very front of this new tech revolution? I guess we'll just have to wait and see.